India's exports have declined for the ninth consecutive month. Merchandise shipments dropped 27.7% in June. Exports had already plunged 29.2% in May. Earlier in March, exports fell 33.26%, the steepest fall since April 1995. Imports have also been hit, falling 29.3% in June. To discuss the implication for the economy, I have with me Anil Padmanabhan, Mint's Deputy Managing Editor. Anil, welcome. Are we reading a correct story? What is the story in it?
No, Srini, this story is not about exports. Exports, as we all know, the global economy is contracting at this point. So it's natural there will be a slump in exports. But the interesting story is on imports, within that non-oil imports. That's the real story of this trade figures.
So what's happening in the non-oil imports?
See, non-oil imports are a very good proxy indicator about demand in the system and the economy. So clearly its rate of contraction is decelerating. It's declining at a slower and slower pace, which basically means domestic demand for non-oil imports is growing up. And hopefully a lot of this is in capital goods, which means investment and subsequent growth. Especially because the Indian strategy of coming out of this crisis has been to pump domestic demand, which is what the government's big spend is all about.
So what you're trying to say is the government's, the entire, whatever initiative they took on domestic demand, it is showing the results.
Kind of. It's clearly, these are lead indicators. You also have the Purchasing Managers Index data which came out today, which stayed steady at the levels that prevailed in May. So clearly managers are ramping up orders. So there is some element of demand coming forth in select sectors in the economy. I suspect primarily in infrastructure at this point of time.
Okay. What about oil imports? Are they still up?
Oil imports are slowly moving up, but that could be a lot to do with the valuation too, because oil prices are no longer at the rock bottom and they're heading up to about $70 a barrel. So that's kind of mixed. We can't figure out at this point of time.
Okay. I'm not sure whether more figures are come out within the non-oil imports. Which are the sectors which are particularly benefiting by this?
Srini, too early because these are aggregate data. So you get the disaggregate data after 2 months. So that means June data will be available to us sometime in September. So it's a little too early to take a call. But these are broad proxies, like I said. But primarily, it again and again confirms that the Indian economy has bottomed out.
Okay.
What we are hazarding is whether a pickup is on the way. I think that's still too early to say.
Yeah. Let's look at exports. Is there any similar stories? Can you see that? Because the government itself says it's at least they can't say anything before September.
See, exports again, it's like you said, September, everyone's talking about September because that's when they expect the US economy to bottom out. Now that's a little too early. We are seeing signals about the US economy beginning to bottom out, but recovery is not imminent. The US is not operating like India. India, the recovery might be faster, but the US economy recovery is not going to be faster. So your export is not going to kick in that fast. It's primarily you have to look at domestic demand. So exports are going to continue to hurt you for a while.
Okay, so it will be a while before exports to start looking up. Thank you, Anil.